This is Angel, Ribo, and welcome to Expansion Network. As you know, I'm known here in the US as the CEO Confidant and known in Latin America as the co-founder and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation. And I'm extremely thrilled today to actually be broadcasting live, not only from Dallas, Texas, as you know, where I'm located, but also from Costa Rica and Switzerland. I love that combination of countries. And we have two super powerful women with us. Isabell Rodriguez, welcome to Expansion Network.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely welcome. And Envita Rose, welcome to Expansion Network again.
Hi, Angel. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be back.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, we're going to have a very powerful conversation. And actually, we're going to ask you a question, which is, are you going to join the Mastering the Feminine Power Mastermind Retreat? Okay, so that's basically the title of this conversation. And the reason why we are actually asking you this upfront is because, you know, Isabell and Envita are going to be actually together, at least in one of the retreats that Isabell is going to organize, and she's been kind enough to allow, you know, Expansion Network to be and to share with us, to share with our audience what she's going to do. So, Isabell, you know, we know, I mean, everybody knows you because of many different reasons. You are the Scandinavia's #1, you know, mindset coach, transformational mindset coach, and also this amazing movie called Say Something that, you know, really, you got this incredibly powerful message across after having been, you know, a victim of the domestic violence for many years. So, Isabell, you know, tell us a little bit more about your story. Why do you do today what you do?
Thank you so much, Angel, for that introduction. Well, thank you. I grew up, as you mentioned, I was sexually abused when I was 5 years old. And I later on got abused by a stepfather. And me and my mom, we had to run away to a women's shelter. And that got me into a momentum of self-sabotaging myself for many years. I was very insecure. I got an eating disorder. I tried to commit suicide 3 times. I went into drug, alcohol abuse. And that is because I went through these traumas. And I never really healed from them. I never really talked about the emotions behind them or anything. And when I got the chance to be in the documentary movie, Say Something, to really share what happened and what happens afterwards, because usually people think that it's over when you get out of the domestic violence case, right? But it's so many years afterwards that you have to build up yourself. And I was in a very vulnerable age at 14 years old. And my mom was a wreck basically after this time. So we had to find our relationship afterwards. So that is why I am today working together with women and young women to reconnect with themselves and build themselves up again and rebuild their lives from traumatic events and actually get rid of those blockages. So this whole journey that I was on, to rediscover myself and my true potential, because for years I hated myself. I was very mean to myself. And if I can make that journey shorter for somebody else who have gone through the similar things, then my story was not for nothing, you know? So that's why I stepped up and I wanted to tell my story. And the powerful thing about telling your story and actually using your experience to something good, it also helps others to step out from their story and do something for themselves. But I shared my story and in Sweden a lot, and it opened up opportunities for radio stations, TV, but I also got the opportunity to talk to the politicians of my country. And because of that, we're now changing a law to protect children who are going through domestic violence. So anything can happen when you start opening up. So that's my message and why I'm helping women today, really. And that's how the Mastermind Retreat was created too, because I wanted to create a safe place for women to come to.
What would you say was that moment in your life that was it so clear to you that you had to actually use your experience to help others? Was there a moment, like an inflection point in your life that you said, I have to do this no matter what?
Yeah, well, that was probably when we had the premiere of Say Something, when I was standing up on stage together with my mom, and we were in this huge sala, or whatever you call, you know, in the movie theaters, right? And we were up on stage and people could ask our questions. And a lot of people raised their hands and said, I can relate, but I've never talked about it. And I really felt alone. And that was the message that was coming out from a lot of people. I felt alone. I felt like nobody would understand me. And I felt right there and then, oh my gosh, I'm standing on a stage talking about my story, and it's inspiring and empowering women. And if I can do it, they can do it. And if I can get out of this, they can do so too. But if we are feeling alone, then how are we going to do that? So that's why I was like, I need to share my message. I really need to step up and start talking about this, because it's more common than we think. So that was my moment.
And as you mentioned, we've mentioned Scandinavia, we've mentioned Sweden. You're originally from Sweden, right, Isabel? Yeah. But you are in Costa Rica, so that our audience is able to understand why Isabel, being from Sweden, why is she now in actually Costa Rica? She's organizing those retreats in Costa Rica. She's organizing retreats also in Florida. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my husband is actually from Uruguay. So he's from South America. I met him in Zambia a couple of years ago while bungee jumping, traveling the world. So this was part of my journey as well, getting out of my comfort zone. That was my first thing I needed to do, to find myself or to step into my true potential. And I can say that I manifested all of this. I really did, because in the movie Say Something, I actually say to my mom, I can't stay here. I'm not growing here. I need palm trees. I need the sun. And for those who don't know, Sweden can be very cold and very wintering, very snowy. So that was my always I talked about, I'm going to live in a paradise environment. But I also wanted to learn Spanish, of course, because I know that the Hispanic culture can really use my story, my message, and what I'm teaching in that regard. So I'm learning Spanish, and that's how we actually got here. And we used to do conferences, me and my husband, because my husband is an entrepreneur himself, and we used to travel for his students and doing these conferences in South America and Central America. So I said, why don't we just start doing it here? If we're actually going to, stay in Costa Rica, why don't we bring the people here? And that's how the masterminds was actually started.
Awesome. Incredible. So as I mentioned in the beginning of our conversation, you are going to, or you are already organizing those, at least, those two upcoming retreats. One is going to be in Florida first, and then in Costa Rica. But in those retreats, it's not only yourself, and it's not only your participation and your support to all those, women that come to master their feminine power. You have, and you bring other experts to help you, support those women during those retreats. And I would like actually to welcome Envita here. Again, I introduced her in the beginning. Envita is one of the master experts that's going to be, with Isabel in one of her retreats. And, Envita is an incredible human being as well as Isabel. And, she's studied several forms of healing in human psychology, many different modalities. And she is, a transpersonal healing practitioner. I really like that term of transpersonal. Envita, according to your experience, right? Because you have been exposed to a lot of healing, with yourself and with the people that you have helped throughout the years. According to your experience, what do you think that women need the most these days with everything that's happening in the world?
Well, thank you so much, first of all. And it's so nice to be back with you and your energy. I just really appreciate it. But I think women, and not only women, actually, just everyone in the world, there is a huge, huge transformation going on. And I'm sure that we've all felt it. And I think that not only the things that we've experienced as a human affect us, but what goes on around us and even what goes on within the universe. And so for this specific retreat, what we're going to be doing is kind of relinking the individual, the woman, to herself, and then reclaiming all the aspects of herself. Because when we're completely whole, as we already are, we're accessing all of our resources and centered. So no matter what comes up or which direction we choose, we have everything that we need inside of us.
According to your experience, Envita, what do you think why do you think that it's so difficult to actually build up on the feminine power, specifically in women? What has been your experience?
I think that a lot of times experiences create kind of like a fragmentation So we are fractal parts of a whole. And when we're disconnected to certain aspects of ourselves, like for example, for our feminine divinity and also masculine aspects within us, then I think whatever comes up, it becomes a challenge. It's like we have different parts within us, but we're not working together as one. So I always say there's like, we can either act in love, which would be with an open heart, or in the absence of love. And the absence of love could be anything. But obviously when we're in that state, then we tend to have an internal conflict, an internal dialogue. And that could stem from many different things, whether it be from your previous experience as a child, who you are today as a person, or beyond. And so I think that when we release and transform the energy that's kind of there, because everything is here for a purpose for us to understand, and then we can kind of work together and become a whole from these fragments.
Isabell, what obviously you've already had those, mastering the feminine power mastermind retreats already. You have already, have a few of them. So according to your experience, what would, women expect? What do you think they should realistically expect out of that event?
Yeah, thank you. To not only to discover, but reconnecting with themselves. Getting a sense of new excitement. I mean, it's a lot of women coming into these retreats, right? And not only the experts, but what you're actually getting is a new, solid, trust funding source of new sisterhood, basically. A lot of women coming together, sharing experience, sharing their knowledge, being open and vulnerable to share your own story and share about yourself. But one thing I really love about the Mastering the Feminine Power is the mastermind retreat, like the mastermind itself. So every night from 6 to 8, we have this mastermind table. We call it the round table, where we sit around and we highlight one woman for 30 minutes, and she can talk about a problem, anything in her personal life or business. And we all gather around finding a solution. So what I've seen also when these women leave these retreats is that they are going with a purpose. They have more clarity. They're excited. They have new, not only friends, but partnerships. They get to know people from around the world, because I know some people, some people, and together we can share those contacts and we can share the knowledge. So it's all about stepping into our fully potential at these retreats by these activities that we're doing.
And as I mentioned in the beginning, and Envita is a great example. You're bringing other experts, right? So yes. I think it's extremely generous in your concept, because you're bringing other people that have had other life experiences, that have other, that come from other avenues of knowledge and wisdom. How did that idea came to you, that bringing in other people that could complement what you already do?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. That's a really good question. Because I only know what I know. And I wanted these mastermind retreats to have like this full compact thing. I wanted people to come and be like learning about the mind, learning about the body, learning about the finances, and putting all those aspects all of those experts together. And with help from women experts around the world, we always are 3 to 5 experts at these retreats to teach in their expert field. So bringing all of these knowledge, just giving exactly that, all of it compounding together to actually take you to the next level.
When these women that have already been on your mastermind retreat, on your retreat, they leave and they talk to you after a while, what is typically what do they share with you? What do you think, or how do you think that retreat has affected their lives or has transformed them?
Yeah. Well, I had one woman, she's absolutely fantastic. She came and she was filled with emotions. I think she was in a state where she was ready to maybe leave her partner, for instance, and she wasn't really fulfilled in any area of her life. She wanted to put her knowledge and actually created her own business. So when she left and I talked to her months later, she had not only started to leave this person, but also started her to get into her company and actually expanding in that. But not only that, two other women became authors. Because the connections there, they were starting to share their stories and they realized, oh, I'm not alone. I have a powerful story and I'm going to step into that power and I'm going to write about it. So at the retreat, they got in contact with this publisher. So two became authors just right afterwards. So a lot of them actually get a sense of knowledge, not knowledge, but what they want to do. More clarity, and they actually go for it. So afterwards, they have fulfilled that. They leave the retreat and they know, okay, I have a go-to plan, like an action plan, and I'm going to stick to it. Because that's what happens at the mastermind table, the round table, is that we sit and we actually make a plan for that. I mean, you have a problem, you want a solution. Either you connect with a coach, a mentor, whatever it can be, and then you create a plan, right? And then you stick to it.
Excellent. And Vita, you joining, Isabel for the retreat, for the mastermind, what do you envision is going to be, your participation, and how are you going to, support, all the event and the mission itself?
Well, I'm really happy to be able to support Isabel. And I think that what she's doing is really amazing. And things like this are needed in today's day because there is so much change, and having that kind of support group around to give you certain resources, possibilities, and avenues, I think is very valuable today for the individual. And I've only come as far as I have because of also having help from others. So I think it's a great thing. And what I envision is supporting her, of course, in anything that she needs. But I think also the women who are going to be there to step into who they are. So a lot of times, we live in a world where there's different expectations from us. And I think this really gives people time to just take a break and slow down and then reevaluate what they want in life, because everything that we want is actually here and available now. It's just our filters that are blocking us from the very things that we want. So there's going to be specific exercises working with energy that will show individuals how their belief system is structured now. And then after just a day, they'll see the transformation and how that shifts.
Excellent. Isabel, just to give the specific details, probably not everything is already known about those two retreats that we already see in the horizon, but what do we know? So the people, we put all the links on the text that goes with those videos or this interview, but as far as, you have what you already have planned, when is the retreat in Florida going to happen? When is it going to happen? Where is it going to happen? And the same with the one in Costa Rica.
Yeah, so the one in Orlando is actually happening in Orlando in Florida,
Okay.
July 11th to 16th. And then we have the Costa Rican one from the 18th to 14th of September happening in Tamarindo, Costa Rica.
Okay. There's a couple of links that go with the video, and you will see both links take you to the landing page, the page where you will eventually be able to sign up for those two events. If they wanted to know, people that want to know more about you, about your retreats, about your story, what's the best way for them to reach out to you, Isabel?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have my personal website, izzyrodriguez.com, which is with SISSY, or Instagram, izzyrodriguez_. You can also go into the Mastering the Feminine Power website, which is femininemm.com.
Excellent. What about you, Envita? What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
So I'm also available on Instagram, Envita_Rose, and then also my personal website that has my contact details, and you can reach out to me or someone from the team, and that's envitarose.com.
Any final thoughts you would like to get across, Envita?
Yes, I want to say thank you so much for everything that you do. And I'm so happy and looking forward to this retreat and those who will be joining us that feel the calling that now is the time, now is their time.
Excellent. The same for you, Isabel. What would you like to share with the audience before we go today?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for putting up this and just saving space for us. Super, super blessed. Yeah. And I also agree. Like, if you feel like, you know, these 2 last year have been kind of unknown and uncertain, this is the place to go to find your community and to learn, to experience and rejuvenate yourself. Take a leap of faith and take a chance. Would love to have you there.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you, Isabel and Envita. Thank you for joining us at Expansion Network. I have personally, unfortunately, I haven't been in any of Isabel's retreats, but I have been personally, physically in contact with Envita, and I have been able to benefit from her healing as well. So I know, guys, that, you know, when you go and you are at this retreat with Isabel and with Envita, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of transformation, as Isabel mentioned, with that incredible testimonial that you just shared with us. You know, that's exactly what's going to happen when you go there and you join them. Again, look at the text behind or under this video. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today. I'm sure that you have enjoyed this conversation with Isabel and with Envita as much as we have. Thank you for joining us. You have a great rest of the Friday and a great weekend. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.